New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
What Would Louise Say? Join us every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. Hosted by Reverend Martine Bernard. Explore the wisdom of Louise Hay. Brought to you by New Thought Media Network. Dive into Louise's teachings. Experience healing and empowerment. Reverend Martine shares insights. Connect with a contemporary audience. Unlock your potential. Transform your life with love. Embrace positivity and healing. Join our vibrant community. Ready to join us? Let's spread love and wisdom together. Please like, share, and subscribe. Only on New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring.
Hello, hello, beautiful ones. I am Reverend Martine Bernard, the host of What Would Louise Say? Happy New Year, happy new beginning. I know that you're probably tired of hearing me say that, but with every thought we think, we're always beginning anew. I am so excited today to have Dr. Patricia Crain with us. She is the co-founder of the Heal Your Life trainings. She's written amazing books. She has helped thousands of people to embrace themselves, to love themselves. And today, I'm so excited because we will be talking about living your life purpose, discovering your life purpose, and why you are here. Welcome, Dr. Patricia.
Thank you so much, Reverend Martine. I'm delighted to be here today.
Oh, it's wonderful to see you. I love your blue. I have this thing about January and blue. I don't know.
Well, and actually this has butterflies all over it, transformation.
Transformation.
Yes.
Yes. So Louise focused on loving ourselves. That's part of her world view. But, people are always kind of in a conundrum. Many people feel lost today. Many people in the United States, particularly, but all over the world, jobs are shifting. The economy is shifting. Companies are opening and closing. Doors are opening and closing. So people are wondering, what's next? What is next? So behind just looking for a career, what is life purpose, Dr. Patricia?
Well, and the life purpose, as I define it, is not so much about what you do. It's about your values and what your life is about. And I'll give you an example from my life and also from Louise's life and a few others that I think can help clarify what it's all about. Louise, as you know, published You Can Heal Your Life, and it's sold 55 million, probably 60 million copies by now.
Yes.
But what her initial intention was, what her initial life purpose was, is that she wanted to help as many people worldwide as she could. I don't know that she used the word worldwide, but she wanted to help as many people as she could to really love themselves, but also that she set an intention that she wanted to share the message, the spiritual message that she had learned and how to change your life with affirmations as well. And so that intention guided what happened later. Louise never started out to have a worldwide publishing company or even write a book. She told me and Rick one time that she actually didn't think she was a very good writer. So can you imagine, after selling that many books? So anyway, but that her intention was, I want to share what has changed my life and transformed me with as many people as possible. And then Spirit set in motion all the ways that she could do that. Now, initially, of course, Louise studied the Center for, which is now Center for Spiritual Living,
Yes.
And she became a practitioner, as you are, and she also studied for the ministry. But she never had a physical church because Louise's church was the world.
Wow.
So the life purpose sets the foundation for where you go forward. And for myself, there was a lot going on in my late teens, early 20s, and there's a lot going on now. But when I was growing up, there was the Vietnam War, there was the racial issues, and civil rights movement. There was the women's. All three of those came together.
Gay rights movement.
It was amazing. That was actually before the gay rights movement so much. That came later.
That's right.
But the three when I was growing up, and for a lot of reasons, too long to go into right now, but I became very disillusioned overall with a lot of things. And I decided that my life would be about being of service and somehow helping people. And I tell you honestly, at the time that happened, I made that decision. I had no idea how that was going to unfold. And ultimately, when I met Louise and started working with her and sharing her work, I realized that was the completion or the final fulfillment of my life purpose. But along the way, there were a lot of other jobs and things that I did, all about helping others in some way. I was a social worker, rehab counselor, and some other, other positions. But it wasn't, and I was developing the skills that I needed and everything I needed to work with Louise and go forward and discovering my spiritual life, right, along the way. And so you probably have a similar kind of story about setting an intention to go forward, and that ends up guiding you, again, with spirit guiding you to the different trainings you need or the different positions you need, whatever it happens to be, to go forward.
Exactly. So it's a knowing. I know that Louise always talks about the inner ding.
Mm-hmm.
For those listening, I loved what you said, that purpose is a set of values. It's
Mm-hmm.
not really something that we do.
Right.
And that is really important, because I think many people think that it's partly career, but it's something bigger than your career. But it's like, okay, instead of just being a school teacher, I'll be a world renowned writer. It's like a larger platform. Purpose is a larger platform as opposed to a smaller one. But I love that you say that it's really about values.
Right.
What do you value? And you can take those values anywhere in
Right.
any
Yes.
line of career.
And I listened to Deepak Chopra one time, and he said, and it absolutely resonated with me, that life purpose is about sharing unconditional love and being of service. So those two aspects. But then the way that you do that is as your skills and abilities are. But I'll give you one more example of life purpose, which I think is so amazing. Marianne Williamson, who wrote the book Return to Love and many other books, very well known in the spiritual work. And I went to hear her when she was speaking in West Hollywood every Saturday, it was years ago. And one of the things she said one day, she said, I used to work in a bar. And she had just started working with A Course in Miracles.
Yes.
And she was working in this bar. She said, I was working in this bar, and I suddenly realized, this isn't a bar, it's a church. So I think that's such a clear and simple example of life purpose, that she could see, even in this bar, that somehow she was serving her purpose, of being a loving presence, and seeing it as a church where she had a ministry.
That's
So,
right.
and if we all had that kind of focus on the work that we're in, too often I hear people say, oh, when I get to this position, or when I get to that I'll be fine and I'll really love my work. Well, it starts with right now, that you need to be happy where you are right now to let that ultimate unfold, right? And you
Yes.
can see it, and I'm sure you have, just going around in your daily activities. You
Yes.
can go into some place, and I can think of one specific place that Rick and I used to go to, where we lived before. There was a sandwich shop there. And you go in and you make your order, and there's, okay, what do you want? Okay, fine, whatever. And this one time we went in, there was a new person there, and he goes, hi, what do you want? I'm happy to serve you.
Yeah.
And I said to the guy, I said, you are going to be successful no matter what you do.
Oh,
Because he was bringing a positive attitude to his work. He was bringing some bigger purpose than, oh, I'm sitting here or I'm standing here making you a sandwich. That wasn't his purpose. His purpose was to make the customer happy, and then he would also make the sandwich.
exactly. I think that there's so much in what you've just shared. The energy with which the energy we bring to whatever we're doing, that is attractive to the universe.
It is.
Remember, I would always listen to Louise on CDs. I would go onto Amazon and buy all the used CDs of Louise in lectures. And I remember her saying, because I had a friend who always complained about her work, hated her job, hated the job. And Louise said, before, you must bless and love where you work, or you will simply move on and attract the same issues in the new place.
Right, exactly.
And I would say to her, you have to, and she would look, my client would look at me, she was my friend and client, like I was insane. What do you mean? I hate this, I hate that. But it eventually, she said, okay, Martine, I'm going to be grateful. People are being laid off. I wasn't laid off. And that gratitude, she applied for other jobs and she found one that she really loved. We have to bless where we are. And I think what happens with individuals is that they're looking for their life purpose. They're sad about where they are, or they're pissed off about where they are. And they think that they can't manifest the seed of the purpose where they are. And you'll come to it with the gratitude of, I bless this place. And I know that I'm moving on to something better. Right. I've always loved Louise's point of view regarding that.
And of course, we always use affirmations. And when someone says to me, well, I don't know what my life purpose is, even though I might share, unconditional love and service, whatever, there's an affirmation or a couple of them for that, of course.
Yes,
I now have clarity about my life purpose. I am guided by spirit to my life purpose, and to whatever comes next in terms of skills and abilities. Yes. So the bottom line is, set your life purpose. What is it that you really are here to do, and then not to do so much, but with the values like we talked earlier, and then you're going to be guided with your own skills and abilities. So not even knowing that I was going to eventually work with Louise and be the trainer she approved for the Heal Your Life training program, I was already leading workshops. Wow. So I was developing my skills. I was at the community college and a university, Cal State Fullerton, and I was teaching stress management and meditation and affirmations and visualization. So I was teaching a lot of the things that were involved in Louise's work, because I hadn't already met her at that point, but I had other authors that I had become, connected with. And so you're developing the skills and abilities along with whatever training, your training as a practitioner and a minister, that you then ultimately are gaining to be able to express that life purpose. But along the way, there's another thing, and Louise talks about this all the time, of course, and that is releasing the past, the beliefs of the past. And I don't know about you, but when I grew up, even though my dad was pretty successful, he was definitely a workaholic. He would come home every night, he would have a drink and then dinner, and then he would go up into his little office and he would work for a few more hours before he went to bed. So, he took a train into New York and worked all day, came home, took a little break, and then worked 3 more hours maybe, or 2 more hours. So what I learned is how much you had to work to gain a living, and that you always had to work. So that's been one that I've had to work on releasing, and others may have to release, like, that work is a drudgery. I never really got that from my dad. He never said he didn't like his work or he felt like he had to do it, for the living. He actually was using the skills he had learned in college as an accountant in his work. So he seemed relatively happy with that. But I know there are a lot of people who grew up in households where they were very unhappy with their parents' work, and their parents were not happy with it at all. Yes. And so you bring that into your consciousness and think, okay, I'm never going to be happy in the work that I do, right?
And that I have to work hard.
Yes.
Work hard. All that hard stuff.
Yeah. So that's the main one that we hear a lot, don't we?
Yes. And so it really comes, to me, I feel like it symbolizes some of the scarcity or poverty consciousness, that, those rich people are lazy and they do nothing. And we have to work hard. Right. They get to live their purpose and we have to just have jobs. I feel like that's a collective unconscious belief. And what you're speaking to is, first of all, you have to believe, you have to start to believe, I know I am able to gain clarity regarding my purpose. I know I have a purpose. I spent many years saying, I'm confused. I don't know what it is. I mean, in my 20s, I'm confused. I don't know.
Well, we're mostly confused in our 20s.
Exactly. But some of us are like, wow, I had some friends who knew.
Mm.
But that just brought on more confusion. I don't know what to do. When we say that to
Mhm.
ourselves, that is an affirmation. That's what people don't realize. The negative, the neutral, or we're always affirming.
Mhm.
We are constantly saying affirmations, especially if you're saying it with feeling,
Yeah.
whether it's positive or negative.
Right. And it's never too late to be able to shift. I read a story a while back about a guy who, just because his family, were lawyers and his dad was a lawyer and they pressured him to become a lawyer, and he did become a lawyer, and he was very unhappy with it. What he really wanted to do was open a bakery, which is so different.
Very.
So he quit being a baker, and I mean quit being a lawyer and became a baker. Yeah. And along the way, I have written my book, 11 Steps to Achieve Your Dreams, which is a lot of what we're talking about today. Where do you start and where do you go? And something you actually don't know, I don't think you know this about me, Martine, but I was good in school, and everyone said I needed to be, or should, we don't usually use the word should, but I should be a medical doctor.
Wow, I'm not surprised, Dr. Patricia.
Well, anyway, and so I was pre-med in college. I started on a master's degree in a science-based program out here in California. And within 3 weeks, I knew this was not what I wanted to do.
Wow.
And it happened that a woman who was in the dorm I was in the social work department. And I told her, I said, I'm really unhappy. I'm not going to be able to finish this program. And she said, well, they're hiring social workers if you just have a bachelor's degree in California, in Los Angeles.
Wow.
And so I decided to quit graduate school and become a social worker. So I went and took the test and everything. And my father wanted to disown me.
It takes so much courage, Dr. Patricia. Many people wouldn't have done it.
I'm not even sure where it came from, quite honestly, but I knew at that point, even not meditating or having any kind of spiritual life at the time or inner work at the time, I knew I had to do something different. And so I did. I ended up being a social worker in Watts for 4 years, and really realized that my passion was going to be psychology and to help other people more fully with psychology. So I went to, school again and got my psychology major to continue with that. But, I'm illustrating that there are decisions to make along the way, and they're not always easy decisions. When my dad said he wanted to disown me because I had ruined my vacation, I had ruined him paying for my education. That's what he said.
This is so interesting. I don't know why this is coming up in my consciousness, but I was in France in 2023. And I love being in Paris. And I was in a bakery, and there was a young guy sweeping, and he was like a barista. And I think I said something like, "Oh, you're so lucky to live in this city." So I'm just and he said to me, "I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing with my life. I feel really unhappy." And I said, "That's okay. It's not the location." I said, "For me, Paris
Right.
is it, but maybe it's not for you." I said, "You're young. You will find your way.
Hmm.
Give to the world. Don't get discouraged." I remember and when I was leaving, he was smoking a cigarette outside, and he and I started talking. So that was a few years ago. So I'm just sending him love, that he has found his rightful
Hmm.
place, that he's finding it. But that impacted me because there's so many of us, here I was like in my paradise.
Right. Hmm.
And he was feeling the drudgery.
Hmm.
So for our viewers, beloveds who are feeling drudgery and who are going, "Dr. Patricia and Martine, you're so optimistic. I don't feel that way." What
You know,
is some advice, Dr. Patricia?
well, as I said earlier about the guy in the sandwich shop, I mean, most of us in our young years have started out in that kind of a job. I did. I
Yes,
worked at a Howard Johnson's as a waitress.
I was a waitress. I used
So
to scoop
that
ice
was
cream.
now again, I didn't know anything about any of this at that
Yes.
point, so I did kind of see it as drudgery. But if I had known, I would have known that my purpose was to make my customers happy, not by just taking their order, but by me being an inspiration to them of a positive person that cared about what they wanted, even if it's just a meal, right?
Yes.
And so if you learn that at a young age, it makes those early jobs that could be drudgery to say, okay, I am in a training program.
That's
I'm in a training program to learn how to work with people
that's
and
right.
how to
Life
connect with
skills.
them.
This is
And that's a bigger purpose than me just taking down what somebody wants for a meal.
That is so wonderful, Dr. Patricia. I'm around a lot of my friends, teenagers, and they're all getting jobs. I'm so grateful. You've synthesized it. I will be sharing that you're
Hmm.
basically in the training school of life.
Hmm.
Wherever you are, wherever you find yourself, you are being prepared, beloveds, beautiful ones, for
Hmm.
something, for your purpose. So whatever you're doing at the moment is usually a skill set, and it could be concentration. So if
Right.
you're doing staying focused, learning certain skills that will be applicable.
Hmm.
Didn't realize that my sales, I was in beauty sales, cosmetics, and as a hairstylist, I had to kind of sell myself and stand in front of someone and go, I have these skills and I can
Hmm.
offer you this, and learn to speak to strangers.
Hmm.
And I would get a little anxious when there was a new person, but I would overcome it, and the person would choose to work with me. Now, as a minister, I have to stand in front of strangers many times and
Right.
give a sermon and give a message. I've been in churches that I haven't known anyone, and there are 100 people there. And I see how when I began at 16, working in cosmetic
Hmm.
sales and dealing with people, that it gave me a level of confidence because I actually do have the shyness. No one believes me, but I have that moment of I can't talk to these people. That happens, and
Hmm.
and I've been practicing this for decades. And I can say,
Perfect.
yes, and it was a skill set that I needed to be in the public,
Hmm.
to be
And
able.
I offer some sessions called Discover Your Life Purpose for people.
Ah,
And I just
okay.
had a session with someone who is looking to move to a different career than she's in right now. And the idea was that really I could feed back to her that where she was now was developing the very kind of skills you're just talking about, that
Yeah,
she could transfer, we call them transferable skills, that
yes,
you take them wherever, that she had learned how in her current work to make people comfortable and get them at ease with what she was doing and offering. And that would transfer into what her ultimate goals were. So those skills do get developed. And again, that's how you can see them. Boy, I'm getting ready for what is the bigger to do in my life
yes,
if I set the life purpose and really start living it now. And then, this another step besides getting clear about work from the past and really, achieving and having some new affirmations about what work can be
yes.
is to focus on your skills and abilities. And where do you take those next? And there's a lot of different places you could take them. You could have continued in the beauty departments
Yes,
and gone on with that and impacted a lot of people.
yes,
If someone is really, focused on nutrition and helping people with weight and things like that, that can become their to do in terms of their skills and abilities, underlying what is the bigger purpose. So
precise.
once you get set, and here's the thing that you can do to find out what some of your skills and abilities are if you're not sure. Ask your family and friends. Well, maybe not your family sometimes, but but we ask for the Heal Your Life training work. One of the questions we ask is, do people come to you for advice?
Yes,
You know, um, do you have a good listening ear for people when they're having issues? Do people suddenly start talking to you in Starbucks or at the grocery store,
yes, they do.
right? About something that is going on because they can tell that you're a compassionate person.
Precise.
And so you can actually, get more clear about what your actual skills and abilities are by asking people, how do you see me? I mean, you want to ask people that you feel safe with, obviously.
Yes, no one who's going to discourage you, beloveds.
No, no, absolutely not.
You say that's impossible.
you know, but also something we haven't yet touched on is that for me became very important, and I know it has for you and many of the people that are probably listening to us on the show, is meditation.
Yes.
And, when Louise talks about the inner ding, it's really about getting in touch with your intuition.
Yes.
And for me, that was about meditation primarily. And at the time I started meditating, it actually was not a spiritual practice for me. I had really rejected anything religious, which at that time I said was spiritual. That's a whole different process now for me. But I just went into meditation because I was so stressed out. I did become the social worker in Watts and became very stressed out at that position.
Oh, yeah.
And it was, challenging to be trying to help people in between an administration that was trying to constrict things.
Oh, my
And
goodness.
so it was just a real effort for me to be there. And a friend of mine, recommended that I start meditating. And I started it out just as a stress management process because I wasn't going to be spiritual with it at all. But as you, of course, know, after I'd been meditating for a while, I woke up one morning and said, wow, I believe in God again.
Isn't it something?
That was kind of a surprise to me, but I realized that the meditation had gotten me connected with that greater energy, which we can call universe or spirit or whatever a word is that fits for someone instead of the word God, which is so negative for many of us growing up,
Yes.
But I realized, I'm really connected with that spiritual side of me now. And again, that opened up a whole new set of doors, right?
Yes, it really does. So turning within, we are going to take a little break and we're going to talk about, you feel the call, you know what it is you want to do, but then you have doubt and worry and you're afraid. So I'm Rev Martine on this show. Oh, what would Louise say? On the New Thought Media Network.
Please help us say thank you to all of our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Center for Spiritual Living United Life, Sunshine Cathedral, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Universal Joy Center, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Home Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. On behalf of New Thought Media Network, thank you, and please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, come be you. Come expand your spiritual journey. Join us for Just the Talk, Sundays, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Experience Unity Kitchener and Ottawa. Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Unity of Garden Park, New Thought Philadelphia, the Sunshine Cathedral, Unity of Savannah, and the Om Center for Spiritual Living. Come unleash your spiritual potential with New Thought Media Network.
What Would Louise Say? Join us every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. Hosted by Reverend Martine Bernard. Explore the wisdom of Louise Hay. Brought to you by New Thought Media Network. Dive into Louise's teachings. Experience healing and empowerment. Reverend Martine shares insights. Connect with a contemporary audience. Unlock your potential. Transform your life with love. Embrace positivity and healing. Join our vibrant community. Ready to join us? Let's spread love and wisdom together. Please like, share, and subscribe. Only on New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring.
Hello, beloveds. I'm so excited. We are back with Dr. Patricia Crain. Yes, we are back. And we are going to talk about what a lot of people feel. They know what it is, but they feel like they're too old. It's too late.
Too late.
It's too expensive. I
Right.
don't have enough time. I have a family. I have these responsibilities. I can't possibly live my purpose, even though I have the clarity. I know what it is I want to do. So, Dr. Patricia, what are your thoughts?
Well, the first one would be meditate. Meditate on it.
Yes.
And also then to do, and one of the things that we all tend to do is we tend to try and figure it all out.
Yes.
So,
all at once. All at
all
once.
at once. Okay, how am I going to do this?
Yeah.
And what I recommend is not only meditating, but also to do your affirmations, and
That's right.
guidance, affirming for guidance and all the people that you need to meet, all the resources that you need, the unfolding process. It took me quite a few years before I met Louise. Well, she hadn't even written her book when I had my life purpose. I was 20 at that time, and I actually didn't start working with her until I was in my 40s. And so, but along the way, I was just doing my best at every job that I had, my careers. And what I was doing is just developing those skills and continuing to focus on my life purpose in some way.
So step one is meditate.
Meditate, absolutely.
Step
Meditate,
one. Two is affirm.
Well, number two is really clear those beliefs about the past, if they're negative for your work, and the ones like you're just talking about. I'm too old. How old was Grandma Moses when she started painting? Wasn't she like 80 years old or something
She was
crazy?
80 years old.
Yeah, like that. So it's never too late. It's never too late.
It's never
And then,
too late.
yeah, and then the third one is to focus on your skills and abilities and developing those, but at the same time incorporating these other techniques, the meditation, clearing what you need to clear, the idea that you're too old. Louise, of course, didn't even start with the Center for Spiritual Living, then called Religious Science, until she was in her late 40s.
Exactly. She said it was
60 when she wrote her first book.
Yes, she was 60
yeah.
60 when she wrote You Can Heal Your Life.
And you know what Louise told Rick and I?
No.
I think I already said this, but she said, I don't think I'm a very good writer.
I know that.
And then you sell, but here's what was important. The life purpose and the energy was there around that book.
And she didn't allow that thought to
Right.
stop her.
Yeah.
And the purpose was larger than any insecurity.
Yeah. And the way the book actually got written is because she had started working with gay men and being courageous at a time when people were so afraid of AIDS and helping them. And Louise just said, no, I'm helping. I'm going to teach them what I know.
Yes.
And they said to her, you need to write down what you know in a book. So she said, oh, okay. So she was prompted by them asking her. It wasn't something she figured out to do.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
And so that, I think, is a really important part, is that we don't need to figure out what to do. If we're really meditating, allowing things to happen, and doing our affirmations, then things come together in ways that we can't even imagine. I could never even have imagined in even my 30s the career I ended up with in Louise's work. And I'll share two other things that came into that.
Yes.
One was that when I was growing up, we never went anywhere. I mean, we didn't go on vacations and things like that. And I became passionate about travel. And I would read travel novels, and nonfiction travel books and things like that. That was my bookshelf for a long time. And so I had that passion, but I didn't act on it for a long time. And it came together with Louise's work. And then something that happened much later than my childhood, but I started to see couples working together, like couples at a church or doing seminars. And I just longed for having a man to work with that also loved the spiritual work and everything. And who came into my life? Rick.
Who was the embodiment
Yes, and he had already read Louise's book
He
and,
became the book.
exactly, embodied the book.
Yes,
So
embodied it.
things come together in a beautiful way that you can't even initially imagine, and you want to allow magic to happen
Yes.
because it really is magic, miraculous, and yet it's not because you're being guided all along the way. And so that's the other underlying part is that you really need to be connected with your inner wisdom and with that spiritual part of yourself, at least from my standpoint. Some people may not believe that, but that's what connected me to continue to move forward and continue to open up vistas for me that I would never have imagined.
I think it's connecting with the transcendent. This
Yes.
reminds me of my best friend. We were both studying to be practitioners in 2016. It was freezing, so it had to be winter. We're in a parking lot, and everyone had been saying to me, you're going to be a minister." And I really thought that was far out at the time.
Mhm.
Just,
Yeah.
and she looked at me and she said, "And you're going to have a benefactor." I said, "I don't have time to do that. To go a whole new career. I don't know. I think I want to get my master's in something else." And she said, "You're going to have a benefactor." And I thought, I'm not 16. I'm not just going to get some scholarship. Well, I am giving thanks for the life of Dr. Ted Englander, who became my benefactor.
Mhm.
I was a stand-in. There was a minister who couldn't make it, and they were like, "You're a practitioner, Martine. You give the sermon." And I gave an impromptu sermon. He was at the back of the sanctuary visiting. He and I chatted. At the time, I didn't know he was going through cancer treatment. He looked wonderful. And I said, "Can I send you songs and little prayers every day and just uplift you? Because you look wonderful. You're healthy to me." And about 4 months later, he and his wife said, "We think you should go to ministerial school and we want to support you in that."
Mhm.
My friend had said 6 years before. So magic manifests my spirit, my meditation practice. I would
Mhm.
never said yes to doing that sermon if I hadn't started just feeling the confidence through the practitioner studies and my diligent daily meditation practice. I said,
Mhm.
okay, I'm studying these principles. I can talk about them. And that's how it began, Dr. Patricia.
That is wonderful. And see, there's a huge dose of trust in there, isn't there?
Yes, trust
And
is
I would also say that, trusting the process is important
yes.
because as I was beginning to work with Louise and she had approved the training, I had a pretty significant period of time where there wasn't income coming in because I'd let go of the job that I had been doing.
Yeah.
And I can remember meditating on this and saying, okay, I've been guided, to go forward on this, but I'm not sure I have enough money to pay my mortgage for next month. And
Yeah.
the message I got back was trust, everything's going to turn around in July. And that was March that I got that message. So along the way, it's not always smooth sailing.
Exactly.
We have some transitions that we need to make, some other beliefs that we need to let go of, and a huge dose of trust, going forward. And yes, things did turn around in that July. So I was, walking closely with
Yes.
spirit to really trust on that piece of it. So that's
Exactly.
another part of it. In our lives in general, we just do have challenges come up, right? And
Yeah.
going forward, we have to just deal with those in a way that's positive. Having a practitioner like yourself is wonderful to
That's
be able to help people navigate, when there are those challenges or the Heal Your Life coaching work, etc. All those are important to
very,
really be able to
very
go forward. Hmm.
we have and are you up to anything wonderful, Dr. Patricia, that you can remind our viewers about classes, what is going on? Because beloveds, we need the support. You need
Yes,
like-minded people.
yeah,
Even if you don't get a practitioner or a therapist, please share with a positive friend. You only want to share your dreams with those who are uplifters, who are positive, who can see
mhm,
possibilities.
yeah.
So we all have a positive friend. We,
Absolutely. Well, there are the Heal Your Life trainings like you've experienced ongoing worldwide. We have one coming up in October in California in the US. And those people who are the co-trainers, Christy Dixon and Anna Milkick, they're going to be on your show next week.
yes,
And that is in October, and that trains people as workshop leaders and also as life coaches. But we also have, the Heal Your Life workshops.com website where everybody who has been trained worldwide is in there that people can look up and find someone in their location or near it. Now we're on the internet everywhere, so it doesn't
Yeah.
have to be so local, right? Which is wonderful. There's also going to be a Heal Your Life Journey workshop, a 6-week workshop coming up in February that
Yes.
really takes you and immerses you in Louise's principles, right?
That's
The
right.
Heal Your Life training, yep, it's on the screen right now, healyourlifetraining.com.
Yes.
And
Yes.
we also have louisehayusa.com that's specific to Louise's work.
Yes.
I'm offering the Discover Your Life Purpose sessions. And I'm also, my most exciting project right now is that I also am finishing my third book. And that one is all about
Oh,
being
Kevin.
able to have courage to go through and connect with your life purpose.
Oh, thank you, Reverend Kevin.
Oh, lovely.
Rev is the senior minister of Unity Sacramento.
Wonderful.
He's phenomenal, world traveler, thought leader, and influencer. Thank you, Rev Kevin. How timely this conversation at the beginning of the new year to have people reevaluate and reconnect with their life purpose. Now more than ever, we need people to come alive and are trusting the process towards manifesting it and the highest level. Oh, thank you, Rev Martine and Dr. Patricia, for this outstanding offering. Oh, thank you, Rev.
Well, thank you, Reverend Kevin. I haven't met you, but it's nice to meet you this way on the
Oh,
chat. Beautiful.
and he's a mover and shaker. And Rev Kev, I need to have you on the show.
Absolutely.
We will
Absolutely.
have you on the show. It will be
Oh,
wonderful.
great.
Talking
Yeah.
about affirmations and unity principles, all of it.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. So, I'm saying Rev Dr. Patricia, you're my Rev. Dr. Patricia, we are on a precipice. There's a lot changing in the world. What would you say is something that collectively, because we're all having a particular collective experience right now,
Mm-hmm.
same way you did in your 20s with the Vietnam War, there was a lot going on.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think we could be focusing on? I always like to ask my guest,
Mm-hmm.
what are some of the positive sharings you can share with us all,
Yeah.
courage folks?
I think most important is on a daily basis to be thinking, how can I help someone today? How can I be kind to someone today? Is there something that I can put more love into today? And again, that overriding life purpose is going to guide you that way. And I think we're seeing in the US an amazing process with the monks who are walking for peace,
Yes.
started in Texas, and that's inspiring thousands and thousands of people, to really get more focused on their own inner peace. And these monks were guided to do this walk, but their overall purpose is practice peace every day. And one of their mantras is, today is my peaceful day.
Oh,
So that you're claiming that every single day. And I think we can all do that, on not just the work that we're doing every day, but also going to the grocery store, smiling at someone in the grocery store, saying hi. I remember just telling a grocery clerk who was getting my stuff together and bagging and everything. And I said, you're doing a great job. And she looked at me like she'd never even heard that before. I mean, she was shocked that someone was acknowledging her. And there was this slow smile that came across her face. She said, thank you, and still kind of like, wow, what was this? So, I mean, just simple things like that, and saying hello to someone at the line in Starbucks, and just simple things, but also with our friends, to be compassionate, because one thing that we also know is that what's going on with someone is often something we don't know anything about. Some challenge that they've got in their lives, some difficulty that they've got in their lives, and just be open to helping. And I think if you're setting that intention every day, with this larger purpose, again, you're being guided to do things, and to be with people that might surprise you that day. You just never know, what someone needs to talk to you about, or someone that needs a hug. You happen to see them and say, oh, someone maybe. I wouldn't say go around hugging people in the grocery store, or saying I love you in the grocery store. That's going to get people a little freaked out.
They might call 911.
Exactly. But you can have an intention, and Louise talked about that, having an intention to being a loving presence every day.
That's right.
And some days we're off a bit, right? We're not always 100% there.
Well,
But
I
I think
mean,
to have
yes.
that intention is just, so beautiful. And we were talking earlier about, just a little bit ago, about, some of the challenges that come along the way. And I also have in my book, 11 Steps to Achieve Your Dreams, there's a whole chapter about that. And there's some beautiful stories about people needing to be patient to achieve their dreams, but keeping
Yes.
that in their heart.
Yes.
And one of them that is just a story that I absolutely love is about Sampurna, who was in one of our trainers in India. You haven't met her yet,
Okay.
but she wanted to have a center. And ultimately, there were a lot of challenges along the way actually getting the center. But it is an absolutely beautiful center in Chennai, India. Rick and I blessed it when we were there, and it's opening in 2018. And but she acknowledged that there was a lot going on, that she had to trust the process and just keep adjusting. So
Yes.
it's important not to get discouraged as you're going forward with what you know in your heart is a life purpose, or the to-do part of your life purpose,
Or
because,
the how.
or the how, exactly, trying to figure it out again, right?
Yes.
But
Yes.
going forward with it and trusting that, as you go forward and meet the challenges. Abraham says, you have the rockets of desire, and then you achieve that, and then there's more rockets of desire that show up,
Precisely.
right?
Yes, and there was a wonderful sharing, be the light. That's exactly what we're talking about. Thank
Mhm.
you, beautiful one, for sharing that. Yes, Wayne,
Yeah, thank you,
thank
Wayne.
you. Be the light. I am thinking about joy practices.
Hmm.
I recently, Man's Search for Meaning, Viktor Frankl, that experience in concentration camps, and
Yeah.
finding joy and laughter in the midst of just horrific hardship.
Mhm.
So I always like to, I'm not being facetious because I've been sharing this in my messages, but joy practices. One
Mhm.
of my joy practices is going to dance salsa for $15. Or going to the museum on free days. I think it's very, very, very important, right?
Mhm.
Everything happening to feel good.
Mhm. Yeah.
And that feeling is a spiritual, I forget what Reverend Michael calls it, your song. You're sending out a vibrational tune and frequency
Mhm.
universe. And so the universe will also give you more to feel good about,
Yes.
but answers will come because you're saying, okay, even in the midst, I'm going to be of good cheer.
Mhm.
Even though, I may be working part-time and the funds may appear to be low, it's like a tide. The tide will come back in. Money comes to me from everywhere and everyone, and I am richly blessed. You say your affirmations, but when you stay in a frequency of joy, as opposed
Mhm.
to fear, doubt, and worry,
Right.
you
Yes.
make yourself more attractive,
Mhm.
but that you're seeking,
Right.
you
So
know.
one of the questions you could ask yourself every day is, what would bring me more joy today? And the one I like to add as well is, what am I grateful for today? So I think
Yes.
the two of those are really, really wonderful. And to bring you joy, again, you can do little things, go to a salsa dancing.
Yes.
Or Rick
Yes.
and I it's unseasonably warm in January here in Lake Arrowhead. And so Rick and I were out on the deck yesterday afternoon overlooking the
Oh,
water and overlooking the lake. And that brought me joy, just to be able to sit
yes.
in the sun in January, for goodness sakes. It
Wow.
was beautiful here. And it can be just getting a plant for yourself that you're enjoying. I mean, it doesn't have to be anything big,
Big
but
or expensive.
what would
Yes,
bring me joy today? And then I always ask, what am I grateful for today? Doing a gratitude practice.
that's right. Taking a walk and sitting in some place and
Yeah.
having a cup
Hmm.
of herbal tea or coffee and watching people go by or just chatting. Um,
Hmm.
that makes us feel connected to the larger world
Right.
community and realizing that people still smile, babies are being
Hmm.
born, people are falling in love, people are getting the divine idea that prospers them.
Hmm.
In the midst of it all, good is constantly emerging and available. And
Hmm.
I think that that's what we're really
Yeah.
speaking to, Dr.
Yeah. And
Patricia.
it's where you focus, right?
Yeah.
Where you focus. You can focus on what's wrong, or you can focus on what's right.
Yes.
And, in our spiritual life, what we know is that the more we're focusing on love and gratitude and peace and how we can serve, that's going out in ripples. And, I can actually tell you
Yes.
how Rick and I have noticed over the years in the Heal Your Life training, actually how this manifests and how
Yes.
different it is. Because the Heal Your Life training started 30 years ago, 31 years ago now, 1995, right?
Mm.
And again, that was something I had never envisioned. And I bless Louise every single day and thank her every day for trusting me and trusting Rick to take it forward. Um, but the focus was when people first came into that training, a lot of them were kind of the groupies,
Yes.
that had found Louise's book, etc. And the spiritual life and the emotional life wasn't really developed a lot. I mean, this was early on. When you think about talking about loving yourself in 1995,
Nobody even.
really, people would say, isn't that narcissistic, and self-indulgent? And no, it's not. It really contributes to the work. But what
Statisticable.
we've seen over the years is that in each training, it seems to build on the shoulders of the one before. The people are more spiritually aware, they're emotionally more aware, and they're more loving in their everyday lives and what they're actually doing. So we have seen in our own eyes the development over the last 30 years, which
Wow.
I think is really amazing and wonderful to contemplate because, we may be seeing chaos on the outside, but we've seen this amazing development from people or with people who come to the training. So
Yes.
that has been very heartening, and we can see the change that's happening.
And it's global.
It's
It's
global.
global.
Hmm.
It is so global. I had Shneha and Shash on
Yes.
last week. That was incredible. And they told me that India has 400 teachers or something like that, or 400
Yes, probably around 400 have been trained in India. Yes.
have been trained in India. I'm like, what? And that there are classes happening everywhere. So this work, Louise's work. Oh, thank you, Louise, for giving this to the world.
Mhm. We're
It's
so
so
grateful.
I love how she would say, life is so simple. We complicate it.
Right.
Yes, we do. But these principles are being, everyone gets it because innately we kind of know we impact our reality. Don't be
Hmm.
so negative. You're being negative. Why are you, we know that. We actually have an understanding. So that innate intuitive knowing with Louise's teachings, everybody around the world, all 50 million who bought the book or more, went, ah, this makes sense. This makes complete sense. But it's simple. But love yourself and know that you are worthy of a life
Hmm.
that you came into existence with that particular thing that you do in your own very special way.
Right.
In your own very, very special way. Dr. Patricia, we are nearing the end of the show. Do you have three
Oh.
tips? Because I love talking to you. Three golden nuggets, three can remind us about before we go and start our journaling, our affirmation, our
Yeah.
meditation practices, not being worried, not, catastrophizing, feeling good. What are three of your tips?
Well, the first one would be just knowing that you live your life purpose every day.
Yes.
So be aware of that. What is really what you want to share in the world, not against the doing, but your values. So just know you're living your life purpose every day.
That's
And
right.
is that the one you want to live today, or change it? And the ones we just talked about, having a joy practice and a gratitude practice, and
Yes.
really trusting spirit to guide you forward. Trusting that there is a beautiful life path for you, regardless of where you started. And you are an important part of the process in this world and the energy in this life to be able to share who you are and the uniqueness of yourself.
Oh, definitely. And Louise says at the beginning of her movie, which is on YouTube for free, you can heal
Yes.
your life, whether you're starting in a mansion or in a homeless shelter. You can heal your life
Hmm.
and attract
Absolutely.
your heart desires. And that is the truth. Oh, thank you, Dr. Patricia.
Thank you. This has been wonderful as always to
This is
speak with you.
wonderful. I know you'll be back because we're going to talk about prosperity. We're going to talk about love and relationships.
Hmm.
But we'll definitely do something on prosperity because a lot of people are feeling like, ooh, the economy, but you have an inner economy that
Actually,
you
yes.
focus on and manifest from that wellspring of abundance. So
Mhm.
thank you, Dr. Patricia. Give hugs to Rick.
I will.
birthday month. It's my birthday on Wednesday. Oh,
Ooh, okay.
yes. And I'm so grateful that I'm here. I didn't think I'd see 2026.
I know.
So I feel I'm
Special birthday. Yeah.
So thank you, beloveds. I'm Reverend Martine Bernard, and this is What Would Louise Say on the New Thought Media Network.
Come expand your spiritual journey. Join us